Ever feel like the higher you climb, the lonelier it gets? You've broken barriers, you earned your seat at the table, and yet that weight of being the only woman in the room can feel exhausting. So, what if thriving at the top isn't about grinding harder, but finding your true power circle? The isolation so many leaders, so many women leaders are experiencing is exactly why I am building spaces where women leaders connect authentically and rise together. And today we're exploring masterminds, not networking events where you collect business cards, but strategic sisterhood that becomes essential fuel for women rewriting leadership from the inside out. Because here's what I see happening: we sabotage ourselves, we sabotage our own access to this support. We tell ourselves we're not ready yet. We tell ourselves that our leadership growth can wait until everything else is handled, or that we don't quite belong with other high achievers. Sounds familiar? So tonight, we are cutting through those barriers. We'll get real about the challenges we face and how the right mastermind can become the game changer that transforms not just your leadership, but your entire trajectory. So, welcome to the Power Talks for Remarkable Females. I'm your host, Helena Demuynck, and I'm thrilled to have the brilliant Julie McManus with me. Julie isn't just a phenomenal leadership guide who's ignited potential across 5 continents. She lives this reality. With her degree in industrial and organizational psychology, certified change management expertise, and her own journey navigating high level spaces, she brings deep empathy and hard won wisdom about what it truly takes to step fully into our impact without burning out or buying into the doubts. As a creator of the powerful Leadership Mirror program, a top speaker, a coach, and almost published author, Julie excels at cutting through the noise on smashing barriers and unlocking potential. Julie, I'm thrilled to have your voice and perspective in this dialogue. Welcome.
Oh,
How are
thank you,
you doing?
Elena. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here and happy to speak with everyone. So thank you.
Yeah, me too. I would like to invite everybody that is here listening live to share questions, comments, or whatever feedback that you have in the comment box. We can have access to that immediately, and we will be more than happy to bring that into our conversation. This is just a conversation organically creating and emerging from whatever you bring to us and whatever comes to us. If you are watching the replay, you are also very welcome to send all your questions and feedback and whatever you want to share in the comment boxes. We will monitor that and get back to you. If you are not yet connected with us, do connect with us on LinkedIn. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to our channel, join and show appreciation or show how you feel about what we are doing here with the Power Talks. And Julie, we had a conversation a couple of weeks ago about female leadership and the challenges and how some of them are really struggling to, first of all, understand these challenges and build a narrative or language around that, but then also to find solutions. And even when we find solutions, not to hold ourselves back because we have so many limiting beliefs, right? So here we go. We were just thinking, let's do a power talk about that. So I'm so happy that you're here.
Thank you.
Challenges. You were a corporate executive, you work with female leaders, I work with female leaders. So, what are the challenges that you see for most of them?
I think probably the biggest one that I see and heard is there's so many, and there's five, but probably one of the biggest ones is I don't have time. I work 50, 60 hours a week. I got my kids, I got my husband, I don't have time to join a mastermind.
Yeah, they don't have time for anything. I see a lot of overwhelm and then anxiety and protect mode because a lot of us feel like there's too much on our plate. And it's so difficult to push back, or it's so difficult to delegate. There's so many going on. And especially at high level, when we're talking C level, VP level, there's so many things that are really yelling for our attention. So this is absolutely a very important challenge. One that I experience is this loneliness at the top. I have nobody to talk with about the challenges I have. I cannot find people where I can like have conversations about how to navigate certain things. My decision making, I all have to do this on my own. There's like nobody who understands the complexity of the challenges. Is that something that you recognize?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Barsha put it in the chat, and you hear that
Yeah.
all the time, right? We can't, it's hard to talk. It's hard to talk. We have respected female peers at work, but those challenges that we have, it's hard to vocalize those. Yeah, it's absolutely lonely at the top.
Yeah.
So,
And there's different reasons why this is so hard to vocalize, right? First of all, it's okay, partners or spouses or team, we cannot have these conversations because, first of all, they do not really understand what is going on.
mhm.
Secondly, sometimes it is about very confidential or delicate strategies or information that we cannot share like that. And also, especially at a higher level, we're not supposed not to know. We're not
Exactly.
supposed we're
Exactly.
supposed to have all the answers,
Yeah.
really.
Oh,
And
yeah,
is
for
it
sure.
really? Are we
Yes.
supposed to have all the answers? Nobody has all the answers.
But that's the
Yeah,
expectation. That's the expectation.
yeah,
Another one of my favorites is the imposter syndrome.
yeah,
I'm not ready. I'm not good at, I can't be at the same level as these women that are going to be in this mastermind. I can't sit toe to toe with them. And I think that's a huge one that I hear from a lot of people. A lot of
yeah,
women particularly is that whole I'm not good enough, I'm not ready. I'll be ready when, I'll be ready
yeah,
if, all those
yeah,
situations. So that's another
yeah,
one I think that comes up a lot of times with women leaders.
yeah. Absolutely. I would say there's a lot of struggles, and everybody that is working at very high level in corporate, but also female entrepreneurs, we all know there's a lot of things that we struggle with. And although we are not in this really dual and controversial setting, as women, we experience things a lot different than men. Sometimes it's a delicate thing to mention, and I am so much an advocate for female strength and female power that people sometimes ask me, do you have a problem with men? And I absolutely have no problem with men. It's just that the system, especially in corporates, has been built by men because they were there first. And so they build it for them because at that time, I'm talking decades ago, they were the only ones there, right? So they decided on the rules and they
Mhm.
developed the game. And so when we entered corporate landscape at a higher level, we were like, oh, okay, this is how the game is played. These are the rules, and actually we're not really fit. The system is not really developed for us, so we started to adapt and adopt. And okay, this happens. This is not about being judgmental or about being negative about it, but I think that we can now see how organizations, how corporate life, how the world in general is going into a direction that is not serving a lot of us, that is not serving especially a lot of women. If we look at the world as such, that is not serving women and children especially. We'll not go there, we can do another power talk about that. But we are in a corporate landscape that has not been built for us, and it has been, we have believed for so many years that it was us. We had to change, we had to adapt, we had to adopt, we had to build resilience, we had to be strong, we never have to give up. Hey, no, we can also adapt the system. We also can question the system. It's like you need transportation to do, okay, very simple example. You need transportation to do your groceries shopping, and what they put there is a truck. And so we are supposed to say, oh, okay, we have to drive this truck because this truck is there in front of our door. No, we can also say this truck is not really effective and efficient to do our grocery shopping because of so many reasons that you can imagine. So
Mhm.
let's look for something different. But this
Right.
is not what we have been doing, right? Because again, we feel that we're on our own in this situation. We're like the only ones suffering, or we're the only ones struggling, and that's not true. That's not true. We keep ourselves in that isolation. And so we keep ourselves also from the consciousness and from the awareness that we are not alone in this. You've been there, Julie. I've been there. Our clients have been there. So there's something there that lives in that isolation, and that it's so important to take that out. And that's basically why masterminds are a solution to break through that, right? Because a mastermind is basically breaking that isolation, is creating a safe space where people can share challenges, can where people can talk about how they navigate, how they make decisions, how they think strategically, and have access to, I would say, collective wisdom or collective intelligence and intuition, where, of course, based on a non-disclosure agreement, but where you can interact and where you can understand, oh, I'm not alone. Even in different disciplines or in different industries, there is this knowledge available that I can integrate in my
Mhm.
decision-making process. Right.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. The mastermind, it's not industry, they're industry agnostic. The organizations that I've worked with and the female leaders that I've worked with, they have the same issues. They have the
Mm,
same
yeah.
questions. They have the same problems. So setting where they work aside, the challenges are the challenges, and they face a lot of the women, the imposter syndrome, the I don't have time, the thinking that, I don't deserve a seat at the table. All of that can be set aside when you find the right group of people in the right mastermind to support what it is that you
Mm,
need.
yeah, absolutely. And the interesting thing is, I don't know what is your experience, Julie, but so I'm launching a mastermind. And for the audience, don't worry, I'm not going to pitch it. That's not the idea of this power talk. We never pitch in our power talks. But I did some research for masterminds for female corporate executives. I found four. I can do deep research. I found four. If somebody here in the audience knows more than four, please let me know. What I did find, and especially in the US, I found masterminds for men, I found masterminds for mixed, and most of them were for entrepreneurs, like how to build your six-figure business in 6 months, how to build your seven-figure business, things like that. So basically, all very much money and business focused. But when we're talking about strategic networks for women, it's not available, which is very interesting. And I think there's like a mismatch or a misinterpretation. This morning, I got somebody I was talking about the mastermind with, and she sent me a message and she said, yes, I am already in 3 networking circles. And I said, whoa, this is not networking. A mastermind is not networking. This is not about collecting business cards. This is about intentionally engaging for over a certain period of time in order to openly discuss and explore strategic decision making and navigating challenges at very high level. So it's
Mhm.
very interesting to see how this interpretation of what it is already basically blocking access to it. And I see that Varsha enters the conversation here, and she says, I think the conversation to grow is difficult to have for women. How do we set ourselves on a path to success? We waste time to tick boxes more than men. Thank you for bringing that up, Varsha. That is so true. Julie and I were talking about this before we went live, because it's also what we do if we look for promotion or for a new job, right? We want to tick all the boxes. If we don't tick all the boxes, then we feel like we are a fraud, imposter syndrome, like you already mentioned, Julie. So
Mhm.
yeah, absolutely true. And another one, the ecosystem at the top leadership space works for men and it rarely is able to accommodate women. That is true. And we don't have to accept that, because what we then do is we adopt and adapt. And sometimes I think we can just create our own tables and have different conversations. What's your view on that, Julie?
Oh, I absolutely agree. We have to. It is geared towards men, and I've worked always in male-dominated organizations and worked hard to create the space for women. And if I couldn't do it at the top, made sure I did it at the level that I could do it at. We're not victims. Let's do what we can within our span of control. So let's create that environment for women to support one another at the level that we can. So we can't fix
Yeah,
everything. There are
yeah,
some things we can fix though.
yeah, absolutely. And I'm really happy to see Sema here with her ecosystem feedback, because I had a Boundary Breakers Collective talk show with Sema, and Sema has been an Indian Navy SEAL at very high level. So if you want to
Woo!
talk about male-dominated environments, she has the experience and she has created her own ecosystem. If you're interested, just check the Boundary Breakers on the YouTube channel and check the interview with Sema. She rocks. She's amazing. Thank you so much for being here and for participating, Sema. I also have Paula here. There's such a different energy from male and female leaders. Yeah, absolutely. When we were preparing this conversation, I was saying things like that, and we were asking ourselves, can we say this publicly? Can we say this out loud? And I said, yes, we can say this. It is so important to being able to say this. So thank you, Paula, for saying this. There is a different energy. We are different. We are not better or worse. We are different. And basically, we are complementary. Yeah. And that is indeed why the old corporate system is such a struggle for women. I meet so many women that they just say no, we don't go anymore. And there's a lot of research and a lot of reports recently that show how women just stop it. They're highly accomplished, they're 40, 45, 50, and they say no, it's enough, we don't play anymore. Yeah, yeah, Paula, thank you. Once we become our own CEO, it's a true game changer. Yeah, and we can be our own CEO in the corporate life, Julie.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's one of the things I teach the people that I work with. It's
Yeah.
within your span of control. What can you do differently? And I want to add to what Paula said. There's a different energy from a male and female leaders, and when we act the same as a male leader, then we're called aggressive, we're called bitches, we're called all of these names, and it's inappropriate. And those are the types of molds that we need to break, because we're
Yeah.
doing, and we don't need to lead. We don't need to lead with that energy as women, and that's something that I think a lot of certainly younger women, they were taught by, and again, not male bashing, but they were taught by males, and this is what you do, and this is how you behave, and you can bring feminine into it. You can bring empathy. Someone mentioned empathy on the chat. You can bring empathy into your leadership style. And that in itself
Mm.
is a game changer.
Yeah, absolutely. It is about bringing authenticity into your leadership style. And what I see and what I have experienced myself a while ago, before I really started to working into this body of work, is that when we lead or when we want to manifest, we relate to external triggers. We relate to what we see outside of us. All right. And we try to adapt and to adopt and to not be too confrontational. And we really try to basically feel that energy and feel the requirements and feel the judgments and whatever is surrounding us and then adapt. But that is impossible. That is so depleting. And so for me, the solution was, and this is also what I do with my female leaders that come to work with me. It is about the inside out. It is about understanding, who am I really? Who am I? Sometimes hidden under all the layers that have been put onto us by society, by corporate, by expectations from all our stakeholders. And we do have a lot, trust me, and you know that. But it is about, who am I really? What's my vision on myself? How do I build relationships with others? How do I look at the world? What's my legacy? What's my mission here? How do I want to show up? What impact do I want to have in my family, but also in my organization, but in the world? We can look beyond this setting of personal and corporate impact. And that's basically our power center from where we can lead. And if you have that clear, who you are and your vision and your mission and your values, and your belief system, if you have that clear, you have that inner compass that allows you to lead and to intentionally move forward and manifest. And doing that requires a lot of strength. And I would even say it's very difficult to do this alone. I don't know about you, Julie, but I had coaches for that. I was in groups and circles for that
Yeah.
because it is scary. It is
It's
scary to
very,
step
and it's
away from all the
exhausting.
expectations and just say, no, no more. These
Yeah.
are your expectations. This is your process. It's not my thing. And say, no, who am I? How do I want to show up? And
Mhm.
so coaching can help, but also a mastermind can help because there you know that you're not alone.
Yes.
How was that for you, Julie? Did you experience a process similar?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I've been in leadership probably longer than some of the people on this call have been alive. And I'm a very different leader now than I was early on.
Hmm.
The reason that I'm different is because a lot of times, or a lot of places I led, it was uncomfortable. And it was uncomfortable because it wasn't aligned with my values. The decisions that I was told to make or the decisions I had to make I wasn't aligned with who I was, just exactly how you just mentioned, Helena. And so then I found the people and I raised the level of people that I interacted with to teach me the things that you're talking about. How do you get in alignment? Okay. And the things that we're talking about on the call. I tried for a really long time. I put my armor on every morning and I'm like, I'm going to do this thing. And it was
Yeah.
exhausting, right? And
Mhm.
then I
Absolutely.
realized I can't do this alone. And that's where I reached out, I upped my game and reached out to the people that could help me on my game to be the leader that I am today. And I'm still growing and I'll grow every day. And
Yeah. Absolutely. Katya Hai, she mentions being a better person, that it is essential for being a better professional. Of course, because it's all interrelated, right? And sometimes what I see, I don't know about you, Julie, I see that women also in a coaching setting or in a development setting, they want to grow as a professional. And I say, what if we grow as a woman, as a person? Because the professional is like one aspect, one element of, or multi faceted being that we are, because we're a lot more than a professional and everything is interwoven and interrelated. And so, what if we just look at who we are as a person and use those values and those strengths and this creative power also to lead, right?
absolutely.
Yeah. Hey, and Katya says, cheers from Brazil. I think it's somebody that you
Hi,
know,
Katya.
Katya
How are you?
Carnegie.
Katya worked together. We worked together in Brazil. We were in
Wow.
Africa together. So it's so nice to see you. It's so nice to see you.
Wonderful. And that brings up a thing that is that all the things that we are talking about, it is not cultural. It's happening everywhere. It's happening from Japan over Russia, Dubai, Europe, Africa, Canada, the Americas. It's happening everywhere. So it is not something, there are cultural accents, of course. And I would say that we, especially in the Western world, are privileged
Yeah,
because it looks like we have more liberty and freedom, which we can have another power talk about that. But it is something that all women experience. I mean, in corporate life, in entrepreneurial life, even in personal life, in
the
community
needs
life,
are
in government
there.
life.
Yeah, there's no boundaries. The same discussions I had with leaders in Botswana, I've had with female leaders in Botswana, the same challenges, the same feelings, the same, it's universal. It's
Exactly.
universal.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. There are ways to deal with this. And both Julie and I know that it's better to get supported and sponsored in this journey. And you could do that through coaching. This is what Julie and I are doing, individual coaching. And I would say masterminds are a very interesting alternative, especially if you are looking to build allyship, especially if you are looking to strategically build a community of support. Once again, not a networking circle, but a really community of support. And then a mastermind where people really commit to join every 2 weeks or every month, and to just be there, to show up, and to deal with a specific topic or challenge that was brought to the table by one of the participants, and just access all intelligence and wisdom and intuition in order to really see different options. Because there again, if you are going this path on your own, we are limited in options because this is how we are wired. We are going for the solution that we think is the easiest ones or the fastest one or the one that we already tried before or the one that we saw somebody else trying. But it's not like we really dissect the issue and that we are really looking from all different angles and really take the time, but also the creativity of a group. There is a book. I don't know the author anymore. I don't remember her name, but I will put it in the comments. And it's called The Power of Eight. And it is about the intention that a group can put on finding a solution or creating change and how that is energetically impacting a lot of people. And so there's a lot to say about masterminds. I think whatever we already brought should generate curiosity. But then there's another thing that I would like to. Yin is there. Hi, Yin. Oh, one of your tribe, Julie.
Hi, Sandy. How are you?
She says, good to see you here. I think the feminine force of the universe begins to rise in full strength. This is not just about gender, but balance. Absolutely. Oh, that's beautifully said. Thank you so much. Yeah,
Everything Sandy says is beautiful.
Wonderful.
Yeah, just a good person and a good soul.
Beautiful. But then again, when we look at those solutions like masterminds, then some things come up where we sabotage ourselves and we are not setting that up. And one of those is imposter syndrome. I don't think I'm good enough to be in that high level mastermind. I see you smile, Julie. Why?
Oh, because it's true, right? I don't think I'm good enough to be at that high of a level. So how do you work through it? That's $1 million question, $1 billion question.
It's $1 million question. Absolutely. I have enrollment conversations for that to just, this is confidence. This is limiting belief changing. This is something that requires a little bit to see what's behind it, where it comes from. And our limiting beliefs are scripts and stories that we tell ourselves or that we keep telling ourselves after they have been planted in our heads most of the time in our childhood. And we just have cultivated that and kept that. And for me, what helped was really making an inventory of successes and understand that I did have the capacity, I did have the skills, I did have the strength, and I did have the proof because I've done it before. But what we do is we tend to focus on the things that we cannot do, or we tend to focus on where we've failed, I would say where we learned, and we forget our successes. And some women have even issues to talk about their successes because they feel like it's boosting their ego. And so the imposter syndrome is something that won't only play in the context of can I join a mastermind or not? Imposter syndrome is playing at very different levels and in very different aspects of our lives. So this is something that I invite you to work with a coach that is focused on imposter syndrome or that has experience there, sometimes lived experience, probably lived experience, and deal with that. What's your view on that, Julie?
Oh, I absolutely agree. I would welcome everyone. If you've been active on LinkedIn, and I just did this exercise and it was really powerful. Throughout the years, I've asked people for references on LinkedIn. And in writing my book and putting together the program, I looked at those references for validation, and it was huge. I'm a very early morning person, so I'm reading these and I'm like, holy cow, I've done some really good things. So wherever you can go, and so that pumped me up, right? It's cool. This is how other people perceive me. I'm very hard on myself. So to get that validation from the folks you've worked with, I think is absolutely important. And that can help you step out of this imposter syndrome to say, okay, so other people saw me differently,
Yeah,
and there's facts to back it
absolutely.
up.
Yeah. And then again, Julie, if we get that validation, we tend to like wave it away. Like, yeah, but that's normal. It's like we cannot accept validation. We cannot accept appreciation. We cannot receive the compliments. So this is something that I also learned, and I also work with some of my clients to be able to receive compliments, to be able to talk about your successes without feeling like it's your ego running. And I'm not talking about having your ego running, but it is about being aware of your accomplishments, not to feel better or superior of other people, but to use that as your fundament, as your fertile soil for your next steps. Because
Correct.
when you understand that you have been able to embrace the unknown, that you have been able to do things that you never done before, that you have this inner wisdom to deal with things, even if it's the first time. And I once again I'm going to refer to an interview I had with Jacqueline I have to be careful. I'm very bad with names. Jacqueline Gammon. She is the last woman I interviewed for the Boundary Breakers. And she was very early age and very early stage. She was sent to Asia, to China, where she didn't speak the language. She was a very young female leader to set up a complete telecommunication infrastructure, right? And in Europe, I don't know if anybody knows Pippi Langkous. I don't know how you say that in English, but this is a story character. And she said, always, she had these challenges as a young girl, and she always said, I've never done that before, so I'm sure I can do it. And I think that's an amazing mindset. It's just trusting the universe and trusting your wisdom and trusting your intuition. Yeah.
Exactly.
Another one that I hear very often to join masterminds or to join a coaching program or to do whatever that is basically strategic development, leadership development is I don't have time, Julie.
Absolutely. However, how much time do you spend worrying about the things that don't matter? The meeting that you didn't say the right thing in. There's so much energy, so much of your energy goes into so many different places. And if you could channel that energy, you could actually save time in your week and make the time to to the go to the masterminds, go to the training, go to the coaching that'll help you make decisions quicker because they're fact based rather than so much we lose so much energy worrying about things.
Yeah. Absolutely. It is about losing time, it is about losing energy, and it is also about optimized solutions, right? Because we might spend time finding that solution on our own and going through the complete decision-making process on our own, and then implement a solution that is not effective or efficient because it has not been taught through by different brains, if that makes sense. And even if we are very intelligent and very experienced, we are limited in our views and in our patterns. And so having other people like a coach or a mentor or the participants of a mastermind introducing their views, and you create this I don't know. That's also why I like to do things like what we are doing now, Julie, like these power talks. These are not scripted, as you probably already noticed. They're not scripted, but just things emerge by ideas that spark, by what our participants are bringing up. So it is about really accessing the collective intelligence. And
Mhm.
then we do save time, not only in the process, but also in how the result manifests. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So there you go. That's an excuse. I want to bring in something that Sima said here that is about the imposter syndrome, and it is about a lot more. The fear of destabilizing the family and the current support system also feeds into the imposter syndrome. Absolutely. And there's a lot of things that we don't do. It's not only this imposter syndrome, but there's a lot of things that we don't do and that we are afraid of starting because we do not want to destabilize certain specific relationships or expectations. Absolutely. And we tend to think about family, but also about friends and colleagues and teams before we take any step. That is so true. And I think, thank you so much, Seema, for that. I think we all know that example of women that don't want to leave their job because they feel responsible and they feel committed to their team. Okay, I can do more, I can have more impact, I have this amazing offer, but I don't want to leave my team behind. And this is a loyalty and this is a commitment and a connection that is very beautiful. But then again, what sometimes happens is that people from the team are going, and then it's what? I didn't take that promotion, I didn't take that other job because of my team, and now they're going. Yes, this is how things go. And then there you are with your loyalty. That is because maybe when you go, you leave a possibility for one of your team to get promoted and to grow in another role. So once again, it's about how we look at things and how we interact with how we see ourselves, how we see our team or the other stakeholders around us, how we see the world is so defining for the decisions that we make. And what we call selfish, what we women call selfish, men call differently, Julie.
Absolutely. She, absolutely.
Yeah. Mm. So in your experience with corporate life, what did you see in terms of women refraining from self development, from leadership growth, because they were too worried about what other people were
And
thinking, or it would impact other people in a negative way?
I see that a lot. And it's actually heartbreaking because I see these phenomenal leaders that, for the reasons we've talked, it's going to impact my team. I've nurtured this team, I've grown this team, and it's going to impact them. Or it's scary. I'll stick with the devil I know versus the devil I don't. Okay. And it's something that I know women need help with. And I think a mastermind would create that safe space where you can have those discussions. Seema, you said the stabilizing family or current support system. When there are other options, the other option is building something within or other options. And that's what this mastermind can help you with. And that's what your trusted peers can help you with, is to work through some of the mind games and the heart games that you're struggling with.
Yeah. Dismantling the scripts or decoding the scripts that we have. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Absolutely. Ying is adding something, or attitudes determines our altitude. That's beautiful. It's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. Where we can go, sometimes the sky is the limit and we don't see it because we limit ourselves to the level that we can see how we are going to get there instead of seeing what we truly have in ourselves in terms
Yes,
of potential and strength and creativity. Yeah.
because we can't tick the boxes that says I'm a solid candidate because I only ticked, like you said, 99 out of 100 boxes. Therefore, I'm not even going to try.
Yeah.
Again, it's this limit. We're limiting ourselves, and we need
Yeah.
to rise above that and step above that and figure out the power that we have and the power we can have and the relationships we can have and step into that.
Yeah. Absolutely. And it is so interesting to see how we deal with the unknown, especially, I would say, especially in professional life, if we're talking about promotions or a new project or a new job. What really helped a lot of my clients was to really redefine their role, because we feel that we need to have all the answers, that we have to be able to do everything ourselves. But as leaders, our roles are completely different. We don't need to do everything ourselves. We need to understand where we are and where we are going to, and we need to bridge that gap by basically developing the people in the team to get there. And so it doesn't mean that you have to be able to do everything yourself. It's about understanding the potential of people and also being emotional intelligent in order to develop that potential and have coaching capacity to develop that potential. So as a leader, your role is completely different and you cannot have all the answers. So once again, it is about understanding that you can build that inner compass, that you can have that inner compass aligned with other intelligence of a trusted group, or that you can, of course, spare this with a coach or a mentor, but that as such, it is about intentional decision making, understanding that we don't know everything. And we come from an era where we thought that we knew everything, which was not true. And it is especially the last decade, especially now with AI and all the other technology accelerations, that we feel like we don't have control anymore. We never had. That was just something that we told ourselves. And so we now have the impression that it's so much more difficult to make decisions and that the impact is so much bigger. But that's something also that we tell ourselves and
Agreed.
that other people tell us. So it is about finding safe spaces to really explore challenges, to really explore navigating routes, to really explore options from a place of calm and presence and intention. Because if we make decisions because in a situation when we're anxious or when we are stressed or whatever, we know that we don't make those decisions. If our children do that, we say, calm down first, sit down, think about it. But we do the same. And so providing these spaces in coaching and mentoring and masterminding, this is actually what we're doing.
Providing the space.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, this is an invitation to connect with us, to just think this through, like, where is it that you want to get in 6 months' time? What is a challenge for you that you are struggling with? What could be a solution for you to get support and sponsorship in that decision making process and in that manifesting process? And the choice is yours. And whatever you choose is perfectly fine. But I think that there's a lot of people that are very open to support you in whatever way. And that's why we are here. Yeah. Yeah. And we often, I love that we can make this bigger. We often stay within our comfort zone. Absolutely. And only by venturing into the unknown can we truly grow. You should start writing quotes, Ian. You just produce wisdom, but absolutely that is true. Embracing the unknown is an amazing thing to do. Yeah, absolutely.
It is an
So
amazing thing to do. Sorry, Helena, but
now I was going
have
to ask,
you
of
don't have to
course.
do it alone. You don't have to do it
Yeah,
alone.
absolutely.
There's seek the support, find your people and dive in because you
Yeah,
don't have to do it alone.
absolutely. And for those of you that are watching the replay, just be aware that we are here also to support you. If you have any questions or any feedback, put it in the comment box. We will monitor it and we have your back. So I hope that we have inspired you a little bit about all the possibilities that are there to have your back in your decision making process and navigating challenges that may be purely professional or mixed professional personal. We are here, and you also know people that can have your back. Look for support and sponsorship because you absolutely deserve it, and because the world will be a better place if you can have more options and possibilities in the challenges that you are navigating. And that's it for me, Julie. Anything else you want to join? You want to
No,
add?
this has been great, and I mirror exactly everything you said. So thank you.
Wonderful. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for staying with us. I hope you that we inspired you a little bit and that we gave you some ideas. And watch the other Power Talks. Watch some of the Boundary Breakers collective talk shows where we feature female executives that are really sharing their stories in a vulnerable way of how they basically become bigger than themselves and go beyond themselves in manifesting their lives. And I only do this to inspire you, to encourage you. And so just check it out and get inspired and encouraged. And if there's anything that we can help you with, connect with Julie, connect with me, and we will be very happy to how we can support you. So bye for now. Have a great day ahead, and we
Thank
talk
you.
soon. Thank you so much, Julie. Take
Thank
care.
you.
Bye.
Bye bye.